Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. Today is Wednesday, June 18th, 2025, otherwise known as Fibonacci Day, 618, the Fibonacci sequence, otherwise known as the Golden Ratio. So it's an extra special day today because not only is it 618, it is the Fed day as well, and Jerome Powell is set to give a press conference on the rate decision. We're not looking for any rate cuts or anything today, but we are looking for guidance. And let's go ahead and jump over to the charts here and see what markets are doing before the Fed press conference later today. Keep in mind that right now the moon is in the sign of Pisces, and that's extra significant because today is Jupiter squared Neptune. And there's a lot going on in the world right now. The fog of war is very dense and it's extra confusing. And it requires an extra bit of attention to try and figure out what's going on, because with the moon in Pisces, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter in classical astrology, Neptune in modern astrology, and so there's a lot of tension in the air. Is there going to be an escalation of the war effort in Iran? That is a major consideration at the moment, but it doesn't actually stop there, because there's more geocosmic signatures coming in the next few days that could still move markets. We have the start of Cancer season and the summer solstice on June 20th. And for those of you that follow WD Gann, Gann was known to look for market reversals around the changing of the seasons. And then on the 22nd, we have Sun square Saturn. The 23rd, we have Sun square Neptune. And on the 24th, Sun conjunct Jupiter. So the Sun is hitting a lot of the outer planets as well. But stocks are pretty much just spinning their wheels here. We did have that sell-off from the June 11th high. And we are in this this really intense period of geocosmic activity at the moment. You are still seeing the NASDAQ outperform to the upside, which is a good sign. But I always like to say that the day after Fed Day matters more than Fed Day itself. And again, there's going to be a lot of confusion. Jupiter and Neptune both rule inflation as well. And so Powell has really been pushing back on the idea of rate cuts because of the inflationary threat. And now my question is with all this Jupiter and Neptune and confusion right now going on, plus with the moon in Pisces, do we finally get Powell come out as a bit more dovish today? Not by cutting rates, but by signaling that rate cuts could be coming at some point later this year. Now, long-term bonds are seeing a bit of a rally today. And what's interesting is that you're seeing a bit of selling in crude oil at the moment. You take a look at USO, and over the last few days, you've seen bonds and oil rally together. I don't expect that to continue for much longer. A lot of this has to do with the market's reaction from all of the geopolitical events, and I expect that to unwind not far from now. You can take a look at the dollar, both against the yen and against the euro. The dollar is selling off once again. So the dollar does remain in a position where it could continue to weaken. We don't have any notable Venus signatures until the 4th of July, when Venus ingresses into the sign of Gemini. And just before it does, because Uranus is at 29 degrees of Taurus, you will have a conjunction to Uranus as well on the 4th of July. So we're looking for this market to potentially keep spinning its wheels, but then break in one direction or another decisively within the next 2 weeks. So that's what we're looking at the moment. Let's take a look at precious metals. Gold still has not made a high since April, and this is a bit of a concern for the trend here in the near term, especially as some of the cycles that we monitor are getting into their later stages. We talked about that in great depth during last week's, or I guess it was on Sunday, the MMA mid-year webinar, which we covered a lot of ground. It was very excellent. You take a look at silver, though. Silver does continue its rally, showing some late cycle behavior here too. And now with Jupiter in Cancer, you think, hey, maybe silver can do well. Well, I think that there could be some volatility in between, but I am looking for some sustained strength later this year in silver, but not before a sharp pullback. But again, today, when it comes to Powell, moon in Pisces, there's a lot of thought going into this whole inflation thing and what we're going to do with interest rates. My biggest fear is that the Fed would start cutting rates into a surging oil price. That would really fan the flames of inflation in time. And, keep in mind the market is going to be closed tomorrow for the Juneteenth holiday. And so Friday is going to be extra important. The moon's going to be going into Aries this evening. And so if there is going to be some sort of announcement or press conference on the escalation of war in the next few days, it could happen when the moon's in Aries. Could happen when the moon's in Aries. So that's what we're looking at near term. Watch energy, watch gold. If gold's not surging, if oil stops surging, it could tell us that the situation is actually calming down. Remember, Jupiter square Neptune, nobody really knows what's going on. The fog of war is dense. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in cryptocurrencies as well. Still looking for that 20% or greater move with Venus still in Taurus. We only have a little bit more than 2 weeks left of that transit, and we have not gotten that 20% move. It could be in either direction. Biases to the upside. Worst case scenario, you could see Bitcoin perhaps drop into the $95,000, $98,000 area for a cyclical bottom. If not, then we are looking for it to rally back higher. Ethereum also spinning its wheels here. It's continuing its sideways action over the last 6 weeks. And as a rule, that is pretty bullish price action. So that's what's going on in this market right now. All eyes on the Fed and Jerome Powell today. Couple of announcements. We will be issuing the Shanghai monthly report early next week. The monthly cycles report where we updated our outlook on stocks, bonds, commodities, currencies, and more was released just this past Monday. So you can check that out. Visit www.mmacycles.com. And then we also have the MMA Tech report, the Grains report, and the monthly Addendum Plus report released in the next week as well. So you can find all those reports and educational content at our site. And of course, enrollment period for the Merriman Market Timing Academy, which starts on September 27th, is still open. We still are in the early bird registration window where you can save a substantial amount of money. So if you have any questions or are interested in the program, reach out to us, send an email to customer service at MMAcycles.com, and we can discuss whether MMTA is the right fit for you. So that's what I got for this week, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.